So welcome everyone to the Alternative Lending Summit. Really great to be here. Hope you guys are all enjoying the conference. I understand it's really going to be a great show. And I'm really excited to be here today to be talking about some trends that are just utterly going to redefine alternative investing. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Dara Albright. And I speak, I write about, all topics really relating to FinTech, RegTech, crowd finance, digital finance, P2P finance, P2P lending, marketplace lending. And I guess you could say I've sort of been on the forefront of this digital finance revolution since the 1990s, when the internet, that little invention that we all know as the internet, really first emerged. But it wasn't really until 2011 when I started hearing about some of this game-changing securities bills that were being tossed around Capitol Hill, did I realize that we are really on the forefront of a financial revolution, a true financial revolution. One thing you should know about me is that I love to predict trends. I love to predict the direction of the market. I love to identify the latest trends in order to predict the direction of the market. This is nothing new. People have been doing this for decades. Many of you may have heard of the Hemline Indicator. And this was people using the fashion trends to detect the direction of the markets. Do you guys know the Hemline Indicator? So basically what it says is the shorter the skirt, the hemline, the more bullish the market is going to be. Now, I personally don't look at skirts, not that there's anything wrong with it, but I look at other things instead of hemlines. I look at societal changes. I look at the direction that the political winds are blowing. And most importantly, I look at innovations in mass communications. And about 7 years ago, I came up with this hypothesis that it's been invention in mass communications that's been the impetus for stock market growth and economic prosperity over the last 100 years. So if you go back 100 years ago, the radio inspired the great bull market in the 1920s. The television inspired the next great bull market from 47 to 57. The internet inspired the great bull market in the 1990s. And really what it boils down to is that each new invention creates a more meaningful and dynamic way for brands to engage consumers. And when consumers are engaged, they are buying, and when consumers are buying and spending, revenues are rising. When revenues are rising, stocks are climbing, jobs are being created, so on and so forth. So that was kind of the gist of the hypothesis. And back around this time, like 2010, I realized that for me personally, as a Facebook addict, I was really addicted to social media. And me personally, I was no longer getting my ideas to buy products from a radio jingle or a television commercial or a banner ad, but I was getting my ideas and recommendations from my friends on Facebook. And these are people also that I really trusted, people that I knew. And I realized this is really game-changing. And it wasn't even only, the idea recommendations for products, but it was where I was receiving my news, my weather reports, and investment information and ideas. And it's really social media that is utterly going to transform finance in this very same way that we are watching it right now and have, especially in recent history, transform politics. So, what I see happening right now is that this digital finance revolution is truly powering the greatest opportunity for wealth creation in the history of finance. It's really just an incredible moment in history for us, and we are really on the forefront of an incredible opportunity to make a lot of money. Digital finance is essentially redefining everything about finance. It's redefining how we invest, how we raise capital, how we borrow, how we lend, how we pay for goods and services. It's redefining the way we save for retirement. It's reinventing currency. It's fashioning new asset classes. It's democratizing the flow of capital. And it's giving rise to an entirely new generation of tech-centric financial leaders. The future leaders in finance are not going to be the people you see today. It's not going to be Citibank. It's not going to be Goldman Sachs. Trust me, I'll tell you that much. So what I kind of want to talk about today are really the 5 key dynamics which I see are truly redefining finance. And this is what we're going to just talk a little bit about. First is FinTech. You probably all know FinTech is financial technology. The most significant thing that FinTech is doing, it's reducing transactions costs, and we'll talk a little bit about that. RegTech is really nothing more than the modern securities legislation that's being introduced to support modern financial technology, essentially being introduced to support FinTech. Alltech is the investment product innovation that is emerging as a result of this merger between FinTech and RegTech. Then media tech, which is redefining where investors receive their investment ideas from, and then finally advisor tech, which is robo-advisors, digital investing, digital savings apps, really what I see as the future of the retail brokerage industry. So first, a little bit about FinTech. This is nothing new. Technology has essentially been dislocating financial services for decades. We're only now just reaching that seminal moment in history where instead of disrupting the brokerage industry, technology is going to utterly obsolete it. What's happening, and if you even just look back to, going back decades ago with the rise of the discount brokerage firms. The discount brokerage firms came on the scene, and what did they do? Essentially was use technology to bring the costs of transactions down. So they brought the cost of, of trading down from hundreds of dollars in commissions to, $7 a trade to pennies a trade. But what's happening now, and why this is so epic, is that technology is now being used to bring the transaction costs down, not from just the conventional asset classes, buying, trading stocks online, but now it's bringing that to the alternative product universe. And that is truly a game changer. Then we have RegTech. Now, whereas technology is reducing the cost, making it economical for small retail investors to actually access, alternative asset products, RegTech is what is making it legal for them to be able to do so. And that is a true game changer. This, combination, this merger of FinTech and RegTech are powerful forces, and these two forces together are truly opening up a $14 trillion market. Okay, let's talk a little bit about media tech, the third item. Media tech is essentially the rise of new voices and influencers and the spread of their messages through technology. Now, unless you've been living under a rock the past 2 years, you are feeling the shock waves of media tech. Just look at the 2016 election, okay? People clearly were not tuning in to CNN. People were tuning into podcasts. They were listening to podcasts. They were going on YouTube. They were being influenced by pundits completely outside the mainstream media. The same exact thing is now happening with finance. You're seeing new voices emerge. There are new voices that are emerging to give investment ideas to the masses. It's, when you think about it, especially the millennial generation, they're not listening to they're not watching CNBC. They're not, they're not listening to, brokers or bankers, or They're not, they're not reading the Wall Street Journal. I mean, this is, this is just the whole different generation of investors. And, they're listening to each other. They're getting ideas from social media. Every one of us now is, a journalist. We're all creating our own content, and we're feasting on the same content that we're all producing and sharing. And it really is game-changing. Media tech is really, really a powerful force, and it is the future of financial media. It's where the people will get their ideas from. Then we also have to take into consideration the fake news factor, okay? There is an overwhelming distrust of everything establishment. I mean, the mainstream media, the government, and yes, even Wall Street. And, this is especially for the millennial generation, okay? You might just see millennials as a bunch of 20-somethings, living in their parents' basement getting high. But let me just tell you something. These millennials are the ones that are going to be inheriting all of the, the baby boomer wealth and the Generation Xer wealth. So this is our future of our financial markets. And these are people who would rather go get a root canal than listen to an investment, advisor or go to the bank. So, that is a real fundamental shift. Then there's alt-tech. Alt-tech is really like this convergence, as I said, of FinTech, the technology, as well as RegTech, the new regulations that are being introduced to service the small micro investor. Especially Reg A Plus has been a big game changer. That was one of the components of the Jobs Act, and it really helped inspire a whole new universe of alternative debt products. What these products are doing is they're satisfying the masses' appetite for yield. The ground floor and all of these, Prosper and Lending Club, they've been around for a while. We've kind of seen a little bit of what the impact they've been having on the retail market. But look at, these new products that are emerging through Reg A Plus, ground floor, American Homeowners Preservation, impact investing, street shares. It's all giving people an opportunity to invest in other asset class, small micro investors, the opportunity to invest in these alternative fixed income products. But the next hot alternative product will be a money market alternative that not only satisfies the investor's appetite for yield, but their appetite for yield as well as liquidity. And there's a company called Worthy Financial. You could find some more information about it at joinworthy.com. But they are introducing a new product to the market that provides a 5% fixed income return. That's a liquid product. And I think that's going to be pretty game-changing. So now, just like media, traditional financial distribution channels are also being displaced. We're seeing, robo-advisors, digital investment apps. They're obsoleting all of these old ways and old distribution channels. I mean, when was the last time that you received a call from, a Merrill Lynch broker trying to pitch you on buying 100 shares of IBM? When was the last time you received a fax blast? I mean, all of that is, completely has been changed through technology. This is now really the future. Advisor tech is truly the future of the brokerage industry. Robo-advisors and digital investing apps, digital savings app, they're changing how we invest, where we invest, why we invest, when we invest. And this is truly the most significant transformation in personal finance since, I think, the emergence of the discount brokerage firms. So a lot of people ask me, Dara, what do you believe is the next big play in FinTech? And, I have to tell you that I think the next big play in FinTech, or the next big great opportunity, is going to be a company that encompasses all those 5 factors that we just talked about. It's going to be a company that encompasses some FinTech, RegTech, alt tech, media tech, and advisor tech. There has been only one company that I've seen so far, and I get introduced to a lot of companies in the FinTech space. One company that I've seen that does encompass all 5 of those factors, it's a company called Worthy. I think it's completely a game-changing company. It's basically a digital savings and investment app. It's kind of like it's a forced savings app. It's kind of like an Acorns. Do you guys know Acorns? It's like an Acorns on steroids, how I kind of position it. What Worthy does is it enables micro investors to invest in alternative asset classes, such as some of these new products that are emerging, with the cash that they accumulate while shopping. So in addition to servicing institutions and accredited investors, Worthy now serves the underserved, the unserved, the unadvised, and as it scales, it truly has the potential to tap into a $14 trillion retail retirement market. As I said earlier, there are just tremendous opportunities now in the industry. There's just so much innovation happening in financial services. So we really are at a point in history where the opportunities really are boundless. I kind of look at it like 1995 all over again, only instead of, the internet kind of, making its impact on retailers, and transforming retailers, now the internet has moved to another industry, the financial industry. And we're in 1995 in the financial industry. So, like I said, earlier, digital finance, this is the future, and it is truly powering the greatest opportunity for wealth creation, I think, in the history of finance. And with that, I'd just like to say thanks. I'd love to connect with you all virtually and look forward to talking to everyone at the conference.